they got caught, and they had written a letter saying, you know, I'll put 150,000 down for whatever mentally deranged person will try another assassination attempt. And then the government released that letter to the entire world. Just hours ago from the time of this recording, the Department of Justice released a letter written by Ryan Routh, the second foiled Trump assassin. And they put this out, and this letter is going to be part of how they keep him from getting bail and how they continue in the process of prosecuting him. However, this was released to the public, and I'm interested in your thoughts of whether or not releasing this was in fact a good idea. Let's look at this letter. He writes, "Dear world, this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I'm so sorry I failed you. I tried my best and gave it all the gumption I could muster. It is up to you now to finish the job, and I will offer $150,000 to whoever can complete the job."
Wow.
Now, of course, complete the job is a euphemism for blowing Donald Trump's brains out.
Wow.
For killing him dead.
Wow.
Assassinating a former president.
Wow.
This is a bounty. And the guy who wrote this is still alive. I mean, this guy, he obviously, like, motive is now just completely clear. I don't want to hear, we don't know motive anymore. This guy had a very clear motive, and
he's a nasty person.
Oh, Trump, come on. It's not nice. So why did the Department of Justice feel the need to put this out to the world? In effect, they have just released worldwide a bounty on Trump's head. Now, how does this guy pay the bounty when he's in prison, right? Can't do it. Can't drive down to Wells Fargo and take out a loan. We don't know a lot about it. There's a lot in these situations. Everything's always super suspicious and everything's strange, and it feeds all the conspiracy theorists, right? So we don't know exactly what's going on, but who decided this was a good idea? Proverbs 14 says there's a way that seems right to a person. You know what? This is a good idea. Let's release this letter that effectively puts a bounty on Trump's head, $150,000. But its end is the way to death. And that is the end goal of this letter. And the Department of Justice knew about it, and the FBI knew about it, and Ryan Routh knows about it, sitting in prison right now, but no one else knew about it. Like, this was under wraps, and now you, the Department of Justice, who is part of the infrastructure that is supposed to keep Americans safe, you've now released this. I mean, imagine if this was your spouse. Imagine if this was your kid, right? And someone had tried to take them out, and they got caught, and they had written a letter saying, you know, I'll put 150,000 down for whatever mentally deranged person will try another assassination attempt. And then the government released that letter to the entire world. Do you know how pissed you would be? I mean, why does everyone need to say this? Why do we need to feel already highly motivated, deranged people? We've seen 2 of them in 2 months who have, one took a shot and nicked Trump's head. The other one sat in the bushes with an AK for 12 hours.
Wow.
12 hours waiting. And only because the Secret Service scanned and happened to catch him did we not potentially have a completed assassination. More context, the shooter wrote this letter allegedly prior to his assassination attempt. He kind of wrote this as a contingency, like, oops, I missed. And so my backup plan, probably thinking he'd be dead, you know, if he missed, that he would be dead. He's not dead. But he wrote this as a contingency plan. Like, if I miss, it's up to you. Dear world, here's an idea. When someone who is deranged and tried to kill a former president wants to get a message out, let's not help them. You know, if he had written a letter to a person, he was like, "Dear Bob Smith," you know what? Bob Smith doesn't need to see that letter. It's a bad idea. Bob Smith is probably an accomplice, right? Hey, if I fail at shooting Trump, just make sure that you get this to Bob Smith. No reason in particular. Just make sure he sees this. Would you deliver this for me? I put the stamp on it. So if you could just get this to Bob Smith, you'd be like, yeah, I think we're not going to do that, right? Well, he didn't write it to Bob Smith. He wrote, "Dear whole wide world." That's at the very top. "Dear world, I'm sorry I failed you. I tried my best. I gave it all I had. Now it's up to you to finish the job, and I'm going to incentivize you. I know it's scary and you'd be putting your life on the line, but if you're a little bit mentally deranged and you really hate Donald Trump and you need a little bit of extra motivation, I'm going to promise you, I probably can't follow through on this promise, but you don't know that. I'm going to promise you $150,000. So he wrote this, right? And it's his fault for writing this. It's his fault for sitting in the bushes. It's his fault for trying to assassinate Donald Trump. But let's stop the bleeding. This now moves from like solely his fault for trying to incentivize the whole world. $150,000 is a lot of money, right? I get it. To some like multimillionaires, they could lose $150,000 and never know it. For normal people like me, probably like most of you, a lot of money, dude. For a like mentally deranged person, a lot of money. Someone who already has a lot of incentive, who already wants to make a name for themselves, who already has just a lot of turmoil in their mind and in their life, a lot of money, a lot of incentive. And we're now broadcasting this. I have an idea. Let's not broadcast terrible freaking ideas.
Wow.
So this is just so shocking to me. And, it's like, well, this would have come up in court and it would have become public record eventually. Fine. Let it like fall through the cracks best we can. A lot of people are pointing out on Twitter, the Nashville school shooter, they had a manifesto and it didn't get released for like ever, specifically because they were worried about things that were written in there potentially inciting violence. That manifesto has now come out, I think, after over a year. And, there's a lot of really toxic ideology in there. But nowhere in there does she offer 6 figures for someone else to go and finish the job, right? So it's like this comes out like within a week of the assassination attempt. It's just mind-blowing to me. So what am I missing, right? So someone tell me in the comments what I'm missing, why I'm off base about this, why this is like somehow a good idea, I guess. Seems like a bad idea to me, but I guess they felt like it was a good idea because they put it out. There's a way that seems right to a person, but in the end, its way leads to death. And that is a metaphor for like not making wise decisions, not filtering these things through higher values and higher ideals. It's a metaphor. Like it leads to death, the death of your marriage, the death of your career, the death of... It also could lead to death, right? So this is so mind-blowing to me. It just happened. I don't really have like some super well-rounded, like unbelievable introspective idea about it. It's mind-blowing. And why did it happen? And who thought this was a good idea? And all it could possibly result in, I think, is bad. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you are subscribed so you can stay up to date with all new content. And if you want early access, exclusive content, and monthly live Q&As, make sure to check out patreon.com/ClaytonTime.